Don't just live for tomorrow, or just live in yesterday. Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, I'm Connie, and welcome to my blind reaction to Higurashi no Naku ni Go, episodes 8, 9, and 10. So there's a reason we have to do 3 episodes. See, the week before One Piece week, we got to episode 7, but that was actually the episode from the week before. Episode 8 came out that week. Then on One Piece week, episode 9 came out. So since episode 8 came out the week before, I didn't have a chance to get to it before I got to One Piece week, and I couldn't get to it in One Piece week. So that's already 8 and 9 from the week before and One Piece week. And so 10 comes forth just through this week. So 3 episodes I have to get to now, just to catch up, which is fine. I mean, I'll get to them, but so far this series has been good, enjoyable, but I'm just waiting. Because so far, outside of that bit at the beginning of episode 2, everything's mostly been kind of what you would expect. It's been too much of the same old, and too much of a just kind of almost paint by numbers reboot, I feel. Like, I've seen videos on YouTube comparing the original series to this one, and it's practically scene by scene. There's maybe a couple different shots, but it's during the same scene. Like, it'll still be the same thing that's happening, it'll just show slightly different things. Maybe different angles, stuff like that. And it's like, I like all that, but this has been confirmed now to not be a straight up reboot, to be more along the lines of a continuation that's just going through the same loops again. Episode 2 straight up told us this. So the question is, when and how is it going to diverge? It's like, I like seeing this stuff again. It's been a while, like I said before, since I've seen the original Higurashi. But at the same time, it's a little... It gets a little boring after a while. In the same way that Fruits Basket, that's what it is. In the same way Fruits Basket did. Because if it's just the same thing over again, then it's like you're not really watching anything new, and it's not really worth reacting to at that point. Now, like, I could watch it on my own or with someone else's reactions or whatnot, but watching it as part of a reaction series here on the channel, like, if it's just going to be the same, it starts to get boring. Even with the new animation and everything, it's still the same stuff we've seen. So it's like, I want it to diverge. I want it to do something new. And it should at some point. It's just, I don't know when. And I forget how many episodes this is set for. Let me check that real quick. That should just be shown on my anime list. 24. This is only 24 episodes. So if they're going to have a divergence point, I would think they would want to do it by the halfway point. So it's like, okay, the first half of the series is like all this stuff you remember and recognize, and it's like all these same loops, but then something changes. Something like takes Rika and Hanyu by surprise. Something is just not the same, or it just goes into completely different loops, or something is found out, whatever. Because if it doesn't do that, I just don't feel like it's worth reacting to. And I'm not saying I'm dropping it right now. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's getting to the point where I have to start considering it just because I don't want to take up a slot that could be put for something else on something I've basically just completely already watched. So that's why I'm hoping that divergence point happens soon. Maybe after this loop. Because, yeah, they want to finish, you want to finish this loop. You don't want to do it in the middle of a loop. Um, unless, like, that would actually be a good way to change it, actually. Like, if you could, like, really just suddenly break things off in the middle of a loop and just completely take everyone by surprise, that would actually be really cool. Which maybe they could, if they could figure out a way to do that with it still feeling natural. Um, so maybe, but I thinking maybe not at the same time. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. Because I don't fully know what to expect going forward when I'm expecting that divergence point. um, I don't know whether to expect this loop to end the same as it did in the original, or if it's going to do something different, or if it's something's going to just go completely off the wall. So there is that anticipation, but at the same time, it's like I really don't want to be. I don't want to have the disappointed outcome of that. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, yeah. I mean, the series is still good. It's still like even going by the same loops as the original, still good, still enjoyable. Um, and it's still showing some slightly new things. Here and there, like Rika's glowing eyes and shit. But it's not doing enough to truly diverge it for me just yet. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see how these 3 episodes go. See if it diverges anything here. And we'll keep going for now. I'll only drop it. I'll only even consider dropping it if it gets to the point where, as I've said in the past, like I don't want to react to it anymore. Where I truly feel like I really just do not want to continue reacting. That is the only case in which I will even consider dropping it. And usually, for shows, it takes something notable to get me to that point. So, really, I think the only thing at this point that would is if it just stays too much to the original and doesn't diverge at all. And it can't do that like at the last minute in the season in the series either. Like that wouldn't work. It has to happen earlier on, or like definitely without question before episode 20. Um, if it doesn't happen by then, that's just. Ugh. But it should happen halfway through, so we should be coming up on that. Hopefully, it doesn't have to happen exactly halfway through, but around that period. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. If it ends up not diverging at all or whatnot, then I'll probably just end up dropping it and replacing this slot with something else. But hopefully that doesn't happen. I am hoping and accounting for that not to happen. I'm hoping for the divergence points, or at least some more new stuff to be sprinkled in more consistently. Because again, we've really only had Rika's eyes and the beginning of episode 2. That's it. So we'll see. Let's get this started though and hope for the best with these 3 episodes. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So, that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. We're back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Like I said in the reaction, it's not that I hate this loop or anything. It's well made in the original and everything, and I assume it will be in this one too. It's not so much that I hate the loop. It's more along the lines of I hate the events and whatnot that happens in the loop. I've mentioned and talked about it before. I've worked with children. I've worked with children on many cases, like in church and watching over them in daycare situations and whatnot. I've I one of the only times I've ever like wanted a job has been for childcare. I and one of the things that gets to me more than anything else emotionally is child abuse. It not only just generally pisses me off, but it makes me physically ill, physically upset. The very idea of it. I've thrown up after hearing stories of what kids have gone through at the hands of parents, siblings, family in general, or even teachers and other people in their lives. It's very much a real problem that happens and has happened for ever pretty much. And more so than even just reading and hearing about it, seeing the effects of it, seeing children experience massive trauma, PTSD, panic attacks, and everything, just breakdowns like we see Satoko have here. It it gets to me. It hurts very much. There are certain crimes and stuff that I can't forgive. Like I'm typically a very forgiving person. I'm very much against the death penalty. I'm very much a proponent of the idea of second chances and that everyone has the ability to become a better person and that everyone deserves the chance to make up for their mistakes. But there's two very specific crimes that I really I cannot forgive. First is sexual assault of any kind, and the second is child abuse. And when I realized what loop this was, I was just I almost didn't want to keep watching because again, I know exactly what loop this is. Just the instant I saw Satsuko's uncle, I knew exactly what we were getting here, and I didn't want to see her go through this. Have watched the original series multiple times, and it's always been out of everything this series has shown, it's always been the hardest loop for me to watch. Which It might even be surprising to some of you who know what's going to happen going forward. But again, it's like it's one of those unforgivable crimes for me. Seeing Satoko break down at the end there, like, really upset me. But then seeing them ask what's wrong, they they know what's fucking wrong. They know she's being abused. They're trying to get child services to save her, and they still ask her what's wrong when she has these texts, when she's yelling out like in fear, when she's screaming, and her. It's just, we're gonna keep watching. I'm not by any means saying that we're gonna stop just because of how much this pains me. This this loop, but yeah, it really does. And I can't talk about this anymore. I can't. I'm Connie. See you all next time.